Strong inside, trying to help us understand. Have you ever been the first or the only one at something? Then you know what it's like to have to be strong inside. Have you ever felt lonely even though others may have thought that you were known or popular and perhaps even a commodity in a particular setting? Then perhaps you have had to be strong inside. In a chapter entitled Ticket Out of Town, Andrew Maraniss, the author of Strong Inside, captures the feelings Perry Wallace felt during his 4 years at Vanderbilt as a star basketball player, as a black pioneer who broke the color barrier in the SEC, but also as a young man who felt alienated and alone. In the chapter, Maraniss discusses a news article about Perry, an interview of the star student athlete. The interview appeared in the Tennessean, and the title of the article was Lonely for Four Years for Star, They Meant Well. Within the interview, Perry Wallace, then a graduating senior, talks about the loneliness and feelings of alienation he felt during his 4 years on campus. When the article hits, campus leaders and administrators are upset, as though Perry was ungrateful, as though he was trying to besmirch Vanderbilt's name and reputation. One has to remember, of course, that it was bold for Vanderbilt to be the first school in the SEC to do what it did. But the words of head coach Roy Skinner, the man who recruited Perry, are perhaps the most telling. After reading the interview, these are the words of Coach Skinner. God, I don't know how he took it for 4 years. It was a lot worse than I thought it was. I felt for him, and I really admired him for doing it. He was just trying to help us understand. He was just trying to help us understand. I repeat those words because they bring to mind the title of the last book written by the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his 1967 work, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. I would submit to you that what Perry Wallace was doing in that interview and throughout his trying 4 years on our campus is that he was challenging Vanderbilt, issuing a call to the campus that he loved, but which didn't always understand his situation. He was saying, indeed he was asking, where do we go from here, Vanderbilt? Chaos or community? I know that our commitment is to community, and the voices in this book, Strong Inside, challenge us to reject chaos, the chaos wrought of difference, which we see in America and in the world today. The voices in this book compel us to seek community, no matter how difficult that may be, no matter how long it takes, like Perry Wallace's white teammate, Bob Warren, who decades later seeks out Perry to apologize for not being as much of an ally as he perhaps could have been back then. Or the voice of Godfrey Dillard, who, like Perry, was a black student pioneer here at Vandy and an athlete, but who, unlike Perry, did not stay at Vanderbilt. The voices in the book speak to us today, trying to help us understand that the dilemma confronting us is the one which Dr. King posed in 1967 in his work, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community, which is also the year when he spoke here at Vanderbilt for the Impact Symposium. The choice is still between chaos or community, and the only way for us to choose community is to echo the sentiments of Coach Skinner and to empathize with those who might feel alienated or lonely, and to realize that they are trying to help us understand their plight. This is such an important book for this time and for our campus. I am glad that we will be discussing it this year.